from the first, second chapter all the way.
Thus heaven and earth and all their adornment were finished. And on the seventh day God finished the works he made, and he rested on the seventh day from all the works he made. Then God blessed the seventh day and sanctified it, because in it he rested from all his works God began to make. This is the book of the Genesis of heaven and earth, when they were made. In the day the Lord God made heaven and earth, before any plant of the field was on earth, and before any herb of the field sprang up. For God had not sent rain on the earth, and there was no man to till the ground. But a fountain came up from the ground, and watered the whole face of the earth. Then God formed man out of dust from the ground, and breathed in his face breath of life, and became a living soul. Then the Lord God planted a garden eastward in Eden, and there he put the man he formed. Besides this, God caused every tree beautiful to the sight and good for food to grow from the ground. Also in the middle of the garden were the tree of life and the tree of learning, the knowledge of good and evil. Now a river went out of Eden to water the garden, and from there it separated into four heads. The name of the first is Pishon. It circles all the land of Havilah, where there is gold, and the gold of that land is good. The tabernacle and the emerald are there as well. The name of the second river is Gihon. It circles all the land of Ethiopia. The name of the third river is Tigris. It flows over against the Syrians, and the fourth river is Euphrates. Then the Lord God took the man he formed and put him in the garden to tend and keep it. And the Lord God commanded Adam, saying, You may eat food from every tree in the garden, but from the tree of the knowledge of good and evil you may not eat, for in whatever day you eat from it you shall die by death. And the Lord God said, It is not good for man to be alone. I will make him a helper comparable to him. Also God formed out of the ground all the wild animals of the field, and all the birds of heaven, and brought them to Adam to see what he would call them. Thus whatever Adam called each living creature, that was its name. So Adam gave names to all the cattle, to all the birds of heaven, and to all the wild animals of the field. But for Adam there was not found a helper comparable to him. Thus God brought a trance upon Adam, and he slept. And he took one of his ribs and filled up the flesh in its place. Then the Lord God built the rib he took from Adam into a woman, and brought her to him. So Adam said, This is now bone of my bone and flesh of my flesh. She shall be called woman, because she was taken out of man. For this reason a man shall leave his father and mother and be joined to his wife, and the two shall become one flesh. Now the two were naked, both Adam and his wife, and were not ashamed.
Very good. Okay, we're gonna go through it slowly. I'm gonna ask you, we'll stop wherever we need to stop. To define four things. Define four things. Is this one that actually can be erased? Yeah. Okay. Want us to know, to get out of this one, something about God, two, something we do in church, three, a commandment, four, something about prayer. Okay? I want these four things. So if you can read it silently, give me something about God that you notice in this chapter. Remember last time, what did we say about God in chapter 1? What did we get? Yes?
He's very creative.
Creative? What else? You said yes?
He's organized.
Very organized, right? He has a plan and he executes the plan exactly as he planned it. He said, I'm going to make 3 days for form and 3 days to fill them. Like we said, 3 days to make domains, to make rooms. Night, day. Sky, sea and land. And every one of the other days will fill one of these ones. So he's organized, he has a plan. So let's know something about God from this chapter that we did last chapter. This chapter we're going to know something about that. What do you see that God is like? What's he doing that shows something about himself in that chapter? Can we all look into it before we go on? When you get done, when you get something, raise your hand. Okay, I got it. This is how we read the Bible. So you ask a question. And when you ask a question, you try to look for the answer. So these are 4 points we're going to try to ask ourselves every time we read the Bible. Alright, so let's start with Paul. Go ahead.
So we see that God is compassionate because he fulfills Adam's loneliness and gives him like something that he wants.
Exactly, so Adam in this chapter is lonely. He was not created yet, but God sees that Adam is going to be lonely, even if Adam doesn't feel it yet, right? So we have compassion. What's compassion?
To feel empathy,
Okay, what's empathy?
to be able to like, feel what someone else is feeling and feel like sad or happy for someone.
Yeah, feel sad for someone or happy for someone else. So God's not about himself. He's always looking out for us. And he feels happy when we're happy. He's sad when we're sad. That's compassion. Right? We saw that in the creation of Eve. What did we learn about
I
that?
was gonna say that he's very caring and loving since he cared so much about Adam's loneliness, and then he gave him all the animals' name as something to do before he was created.
That's great. That's exactly it. Anything else we know about God? How about something about the church? Look carefully. I want some other people to get involved. Something we do in church. Something that rings bells when you read it. Just you want to say something? Okay. In this chapter it has a lot. Okay. We're gonna wait until we see the others seeing something. Open your eyes. Try to use into looking into the Bible. See how the Bible is navigating our lives. And this is going to be very familiar that you would hear it, and you would hear it, and you would hear it, and it's in front of you, and yet you cannot see it. You want to say something? No?
He put the garden eastward.
In the garden is east. The garden is east. What is that? Eastward. Directed toward the east. What does that mean to you?
It's the first sense of directionality in the church.
The church, right? Our churches are always, where is the sun now? Sun is this. When the sun rises, it rises from this side. Where is our altar when we stand? East. That's very good. So there's more than that. So can you look? Keep looking. In the very beginning, the first 3-4 verses, you've got some stuff very packed together. A lot of stuff in the first 3-4 verses that needs our attention, careful attention. You said something. Let's see. That wing. Anything that catches attention in the first 3 verses? Something very strong. You will be surprised it's there. Can we read it loudly? Read the first 3 verses, or 4 verses loudly. Rachel, go ahead.
Thus the heavens and the earth and all the host of them were finished. And on the seventh day God ended his work which he had done. And he rested on the seventh day from all his work which he had done. Then God blessed the seventh day and sanctified it, because in it he rested from all his work which God had created and made.
Okay.
This is the history.
Yes. So there's two things here. A day of rest. A day of blessing. A day of sanctification. What's that? Yes.
Sunday.
That's Sunday, right? But in that one, this is day number 7. So the 7th day is Sheikh Sunday in our time. The day of God's rest. God's rest. What did God do on that day? Anybody knows? Or he didn't do anything? He did 2 things.
He blessed the seventh day and sanctified it.
So what did he do?
He blessed and sanctified
Did you hear that before? And he, yes.
I thought the Sabbath was Saturday was supposed to be the 7th day, and then rest.
To really go into Genesis, you know that these days are not really days.
Mhm.
It's a whole era. So he had one era dedicated for rest. He's not going to do anything for it. But he did something. And he what? He blessed and sanctified. Where do you hear that? And he took bread into his hands, and when he had given thanks, he
Blessed them.
blessed it, and he sanctified it. What is that? That's the work of the priest on Sunday. So the blessing and sanctification what kind of work is that? These are the 2 actions of the priest. Anybody knows what bless means? What does it mean to bless? When you say to Abuna, Father, Abuna, bless me, and you bow your head. I'm supposing you do that. You go to Abuna and say, Abuna, bless me. Not just read me absolution, not pray for me, bless me. What does it mean to bless? Abuna, bless me. When you go to Abuna and say, or Sayyidina, bless me. We can do that with your father and mother. Say, Mama, Baba, bless me. What does it mean to bless? Fathers can bless, mothers can bless. Abuna bless, Bishop bless. What does it mean to bless? What would God do by blessing? This is very important to understand. This is extremely important. What does it mean to bless? Can you have a phone? Go look bless. Let's see what it means in the dictionary. And we're going to have to understand what sanctify means. So what really has to do to the church? The garden is in the east. There was a day for God. There was blessing and sanctifying on that day.
To confer or invoke divine favor upon, ask God to look favorably upon.
Yes. The Jews would tell you that this favor would actually to restore things to their original status. Reformat. Reboot. You know when you push the button restore? Or, much better, you return your stuff to the factory and they will give you a brand new stuff. Okay? So what is it to bless? To bring it back to factory status.
Holy,
That's not it yet. Sanctifying is to make it
pure, and holy.
godly, right? Belonging to God. So what God did, what Jesus did, he took the bread, right? And first thing he did, he gave thanks. Then he blessed it, meaning he returned it back to the original state of goodness, that the bread was really good. Now when Jesus took it in his hand, the bread was really good. And then what did he do? He sanctified by giving it to his Father. And he took it. He took it to be his. So when Jesus takes something to be his, it is holy, sanctified. But I cannot give anything to God unless first it is perfect. So let me ask you this. What do you think of Jesus healing sick people on the Sabbath? And the Pharisees would be pulling their hair. How can Jesus heal people on the Sabbath? You're not supposed to do anything on the Sabbath. What he's doing, is he breaking the Sabbath? Yes?
He's blessing them, so he's not breaking the Sabbath.
Exactly. See, if I understand blessing to bring it to initial status, then what Jesus is doing with the sick? He's actually
Blessing.
blessing them. So because after blessing them, what he will do? He will bring them back to God. So he would say to his Father, take your people that I healed, they are yours. They're now better than they were before. You get that? Okay, so these are the actions that has to do with the church. You see, we found a lot, right? Okay, how about something, a commandment in second chapter? There was one in the first chapter, I expected. Anybody finds a commandment that God said do or not do or something like that? Anyone can find a commandment. Yes, please. Yeah, go ahead, John.
Don't eat from the tree.
Yes, a commandment. Don't eat from the tree. I'm going to ask you something to think about it. Is the tree evil? Can you tell me if the tree is evil or not? Because you said the day you eat of it, you'll die. Yes?
The tree's not evil because nothing that God creates is evil.
Absolutely. You're absolutely right. God doesn't create evil. So let me ask, I'll give you an example. Can you understand this one? I believe the eating of the tree is about time. So Tommy says to his dad, I'm going to take the car key. I'm going for a ride. What would he have said? Don't do it. You're going to die. Right? I'm just saying. Why does he have saying that? Because he doesn't trust in driving himself, and he's gonna crash the car, right? And when he crashes the car, what happens? I'm just pretending. Just go with me. Humor me. So, if a child, not Tommy, a child, like say 7 years old, is excited about driving cars, and his hands are itching on the car keys, and he wants to take it, so every time his father sees him going to the car keys, what would he say? Don't do it. The day you do this, you will. Was it that he will punish him by killing him? No. By doing that, he will kill himself, right? So when God said don't eat from the tree, not because the tree is evil, it's because the time is not ready for it yet. God will give him everything because God created it for him. So sometimes we say this for people like don't drink. If you're underage and you're not responsible, go drinking because it's going to cause you to do some very bad things, especially if you're like under 21 and you can drive. What happens when people drink and drive? What happens? What happens? They can go into bad accidents, right? How about having physical relationships, sexual relationship before marriage? Then what happens? What happens? People become mothers and fathers when they're 17. What would they need to do? You're a father or a mother and you're not even having a good job. What happens? You have to quit school. You have to work for McDonald's or whatever to support that baby. And then what happened to your career? Finito. Done. You're done. That's it. You're going to have the rest of your life to carry on responsibility. You've entered family life immature, unprepared. Then what?
You're done for yourself.
You're done. You're done, right? So this is what I would say. Sometimes God give us commandments that's timed. Is God not interested in us having a car? Or if parents are not interested in us having marriage? Of course not. But it is the timing, right? Okay, next, something about prayer. This is a very good one here. What's prayer? Is the dialogue that goes between man and God. Find a dialogue, because God gave a commandment. Now I'm waiting for Adam to say something to God. Where did Adam say anything to God? Yes, Tony. You know where are we? Chapter?
2.
Okay.
Did he say, this is now when it's over my bones and the flesh?
Did he say that to God or did he say it to himself? Prayer means talking to God. Yes?
We infer that Adam requested Eve for himself.
Yes.
And then that shows us that when we ask for something holy, God always
Did
gives
he request? Did you hear it? That's what I want to focus on.
In
Mean your beginning. You're beginning to open up the answer, but the answer is deeper than that. It goes a little bit deeper. So he requested a wife from God. Where is that specifically? Point it to me. Read it to me. Where did Adam request something from God? Look at it. Look at it carefully. It will tell us something about prayer that's very, very profound, very deep. Where did Adam ask from God a wife?
Did
He didn't, did he? But there is a place where he did actually. He did and he didn't.
I just said the Lord said it's not good for men to be should be alone.
That's God speaking. That's Christ speaking. Huh? Say it, Rachel. Loudly. Don't speak to yourself. Speak to us. So, who knows that it's not good for men to be alone?
God,
But does Adam know?
I mean, yeah, you can sense it. It's not like,
Yes. When did he know?
well, it says, but for Adam there was not found the help of
Yes.
And that's the verse you're asking.
Yeah.
So, but for Adam, which verse is that? Read it together.
21.
22. So in verse 22, but, is it?
It's 20.
It's 20, verse 20? Okay. But for Adam, verse 20, was not found.
The helper.
Who didn't find? Was it the animals?
Adam.
It's Adam. When he looked at the animals and saw that God already had made the animals into families, first Adam looked and said, like a baby. You know, when you were a little baby, or a little baby is with the mother and says he doesn't want to eat breakfast, and the mama would say, come, let's watch the dog. And they go and play with the dog or with the cat. To the baby, all the dogs are dogs, and all the cats are cats. But then if they start seeing a family of dogs or a family of cats, what would they notice? There is a he cat and a she cat, and there is a kitten. There is a he dog and a she dog, and there is a doggy, and there's a puppy, right? They will notice these things when they see the families together. For Adam was not really interested in the animals and looking very carefully at them. But when God told him, name them, give them names, what would you need to do when you give names to something? You have to watch it carefully. So he watched them carefully. At the end of it, what did he discover? Every one of them belongs to a family. And what was the little voice inside his heart saying? Huh? What about me? That's how it comes out wailing. What about me? But did this voice, what this voice was expressed in the Bible as, but for Adam, was not found a help comparable to him. So what does that mean? That inside his heart, he felt it. He felt it. Oh, I'm lonely. Wow, what a discovery. So did Adam speak to God? Did he?
Well, inaudibly through his desires.
That's it. So God learned Adam needs from Adam heart. He didn't Adam in the perfect relationship with God. There is no need to speak even. God knows what you want before you say it. But what do I need to do? I need to realize it in my heart first. And I can speak it or not speak it, doesn't matter, but I have to make a realization. The most important thing is what happens in my heart. So God knows about it. So what should I write under prayer? Josie, what should I write here? Do we get what happened? We got what happened, all of us? So what should I write under prayer? God listens to our hearts. I finish with one little thing from the Gospel of St. John, chapter 11. Go there. We're going to watch something else. So these are the things that come up from this chapter. That God is compassionate. He feels empathy. He feels sad or happy when someone is sad or happy. For the church, we said the garden is eastward. God had made a day for rest, and that day He's working on it to bless and sanctify what we do in the church. And then we noticed something about commandment, that He said don't eat from the tree, and the commandment was for our good, because we would have killed ourselves, and we did, by eating from the tree. And something about prayer is God listens to the heart. Let us go to chapter 11 in the Gospel of St. John. And I want to read a specific piece. When Jesus went to raise Lazarus, how many of us know the story of raising Lazarus? Raise your hand if you know it. Raising Lazarus from the tomb, okay? to verse 28. Read from 28 all the way to 43. 28 to 43. John, you want to read? Go ahead. Loudly.
And when she had said these things, she went her way and secretly called Mary her sister, saying, "The teacher has come and is calling for you." As soon as she heard that, she rose quickly and came to him. Now Jesus had not yet come into the town, but was in the place where Martha met him. When the Jews who were with her in the house, and comforting her, when they saw that Mary rose up quickly and went out, followed her, saying, "She's going to the tomb to meet there." Then when Mary came where Jesus was and saw him, she fell at his feet, saying to him, "Lord, if you had been here, my brother would not have died." Therefore, when Jesus saw her weeping, and the Jews who came with her weeping, he groaned in the spirit and was troubled.
Groaned in the spirit, he said, like that.
And he said, "Where have you laid him?" They said to him, "Lord, come and see." Jesus wept. Then the Jews said, "See how he loved him." And some of them said, "Could not this man who opened the eyes of the blind also have kept this man from dying?"
Continue to 42.
Then Jesus, again groaning in himself, came to the tomb. It was a cave, and a stone lay against it. Jesus said, "Take away the stone." Martha, the sister of him who was dead, said to him, "Lord, by this time there is a stench, for he has been dead 4 days." And Jesus said to her, "Did I not say to you that if you would believe, you would see the glory of God?" Then they took away the stone from the place where the dead man was lying, and Jesus lifted up his eyes and said,
Listen to the prayers. There's a question here that I want you to ask. I'm not going to tell you the question.
and
Jesus speaks to his Father now.
And Jesus lifted up his eyes and said, "Father, I thank you that you have heard me, and I know that you will always hear me. But because of the people who are standing by, I said this, that they may believe that you sent me."
Good, that's enough. So what is strange about this prayer?
The part where he says that they may believe that you sent me.
Okay. Why is that strange?
Because God actually sent Jesus, but now here it says that they may believe that you sent me.
They don't know, people don't know. So he had to speak loudly. He was saying to the Father, "I'm going to talk to you loudly, although I don't need to. But I want to talk loudly so they can hear me and know that you sent me." But what's strange about this prayer?
Christ is interceding through himself, the Father.
No, there's thank you, Father, for you have heard me.
There's no question. He's not asking
Huh?
for anything. He's not asking for
So
anything.
you thank for something, and he said that you heard me, but did Jesus speak before that to the Father in this chapter?
No.
He didn't. So he's saying that I thank you because you heard me, but we didn't see anything written about him praying, requesting Lazarus to be raised. And he is actually getting an assurance that Lazarus is already raised. That's why he's thanking. You understand? Like I'm saying to John, thank you, John, for listening to what I said. And I said nothing to John. Nothing that you can hear. Did you hear me talking to John before this? So they say, thank you, John, because you've heard me. I must have said something. When did Jesus speak to the Father about raising Lazarus? Yes. When? Good, it's in his heart. When? Look at the piece that we read. When did Jesus ask the Father? Yes? Go.
When he seemed drawn to himself,
When he?
he was drawn to himself.
Okay, there's one special place.
There's a verse 11.
What did it say? Now we place what we read from 28 to 42. Remember how Adam didn't say anything to God, but he felt it in his heart that he needs a wife, and God didn't wait for him to yes.
The Spirit says, "Did I not say to you that if you would believe, you would see the glory?"
I'm talking about 28 to 42. Yeah, but that speaks to Martha. It doesn't say anything to the Father.
It says that Jesus wept.
That's it. That's it. As if Jesus is continuous communication with the Father. Whatever happens in the heart of Jesus happens in the heart of the Father. The Father feels everything that He's doing. By the way, God feels everything that goes through your hearts because you and Jesus are one. So anytime you're in trouble, anytime you're happy, anytime you're anxious, God feels it. And He knows. All what you need to do is to be aware of it. And when things are fixed, what should you do? You say thank you. When things are going okay, you say thank you because you've heard me, you've heard my cry. Many times in the Bible, I'm going to show you this over and over again, people doesn't really pray, but because they are in trouble, God feels, because He is compassionate. He feels it. He doesn't need us even to say it. So you're going to say, why should I pray? So I actually can thank God. I realize what's going on with me. Because sometimes I'm very kind of, where is God? I don't know where He is. I don't feel Him. I don't have anything. So by me realizing that God is with me whenever I go in trouble, this is what leads me to thank God. Right? So let's review what we've learned today from chapter 2. Something about God. In two places that we found He is compassionate. He feels everything that goes through us. Something about what we do in the church. Now we have the church set to look to the east. We have one day, we call it the day of the Lord, and that day we have a function, a work to do. That is blessing and sanctifying. That's what we do for ourselves too. And then how about a commandment? Don't eat from the tree, and represents all the things that we should not do before time. We should wait for it His own time. Anything, right? Something about prayer. God listens to the heart. That's exactly it. Thank you. What I want us to continue doing, if you have, do me a favor, please. This is the best thing you can do. When I did start to study the Bible, I made myself a notebook, and I collected in it all the things that I learned, day by day, one time at a time. So a notebook, like a diary book or something, and say Genesis chapter 1. This is the things I learned. Genesis chapter 2. This is, or in your own Bible, write them with a pencil. It's your choice. So we don't lose the paper. I'll keep those. I'll keep them, treasure. But I want you to do it for yourself. I actually one time, when I started doing this, I took the Bible apart, took all the pages apart, and I inserted white pages in between. I still have that Bible. And I bound it again. And every time I have something, I write it on the white page. These are, I call it for me. If I make the realization myself, it's treasure. I don't want to miss it. I don't want to forget it again. Okay? This is how we learn. This is how we learn. Ask yourself those 4 questions again. Well, something about God, something we do in church, some commandments, something about prayer. And if you can do this, you will do yourself a great favor. Let's go and do our tasbihah part.